Hello and welcome everyone to Deconstructing the Construct, episode 25. And it is October 24 here in Australia. For those of you who have been following along for a while, you'll know that my feeling has been for some time that we are going back through the layers, back through the series of events that brought us here. And that not necessarily that they would play out in the same way, but we're playing out the energetics, cleaning them up, reversing them, so to speak. And as far as I'm concerned, we had a significant breakthrough last Wednesday, my time. The world kind of changed. So we've been cleaning up, reconciling, whatever you want to call it, the different realms and dimensions. Also, along the way, they have been collapsing is one way of looking at it, but merging, I think, is a better way of looking at it until it's all one space again. And in recent weeks, we've dealt with what we call the galactic realm, and then the angelic realm, and then we got to the God realm. Leading up to last Wednesday, there was some work done, a doing, as we call them, by those that I work with, the LMH members, and myself. And there was a reconciliation, a reintroduction of the elements, earth, air, fire, and water. Because like everything, they have been distorted and mirrored, and an inauthentic version. And what we're calling the authentic elements have been separated out from one another, and instead of having a co-creative relationship with each other, they were fighting each other. So they were reintroduced, you could say. But last Wednesday, the same was done, excuse me, with ether. Because it's via ether, we discovered that the elements were able to be manipulated and controlled. So taking a natural storm and manipulating it and whipping it up into something else. For example, so there was a process where we assisted in cleaning up ether, or assisted in ether cleaning itself up. At that point, the 5 elements then came back together. Now this took place, this was a members call that ended up going for like 15 hours, because that kicked off a domino series of events that we had the honor of witnessing and supporting at times, which feels like it changed everything. The elements, all 5, literally fell in love again. And it was a very, very emotional thing to experience. Shortly after that, it was felt in our bodies as well. The elements kind of that are all in our physical bodies fell in love again. And it was extraordinary. Once this happened, I kind of knew there was going to be a domino effect. Things were going to flow on. One thing would lead to the next. And that's why it went for 15 hours before we all kind of collapsed. But what I saw was data, information, very much like in the movie Lucy, when she's looking at the tree. And she can see all the light and codes going through the tree. That a message, essentially, was sent through the ether, down into all the trees, down the trees, and through the root system and into the mycelium system. And it went out everywhere. It was like the original internet, the original Ethernet, the original communication network of the construct was back online. Had no idea then and don't really know now what the implications of that are. Just that everything changed. There was, at which point the elementals turned up and basically gave the message that they would be waking all the heart-sourced beings in their dreams, which is an interesting thing to experience. What happened after that? It takes, like I said, 15 hours to witness all of this happen and 5 minutes to tell it. Since then, and only in recent days, maybe 2-3 days ago, we got to that level, that space, that energy that felt like the very foundation of the God realm, the original distortion. In terms of how this is affecting people right now, it's my current theory, based on the information that I have and experiences, and that's always open to change, obviously, is that the stories of the gods are our stories. They are chapters, usually just chapters, of our original stories that have been taken and distorted and then fed back to us as the story of something or someone bigger and greater than us. And I believe that we are in the process of integrating those stories again, and those aspects and fractals of ourselves. Because of that, there is an energy that energy is being cleaned up and reconciled, and it's very masculine and patriarchal because that's the distortion. So I believe American Kabuki, aka Will Ferguson, aka Terran, posted something yesterday about an energy coming and it's masculine, and he's almost got it. It's more masculine than feminine. It's about 60% masculine, 40% feminine, but it's the authentic. It's the authentic masculine, the authentic feminine. So not only men, but also women reconciling that the masculine aspect of themselves, be feeling something new these last few days and in coming weeks. But there's a lot of people integrating at the moment, and they may or may not understand what's going on with them, but it can be physical, it can be very emotional. And I do think it's the final integration at this point, unless there's a whole other realm we discover behind this. But this feels like the beginning of where it all began. And you're not helping. As far as the elements are concerned, looks still, are waiting to see the evidence, but it feels like that the elements can no longer be distorted, manipulated. And I know that, at least in the UK, they had storm warning or category something hurricane coming that was going to destroy the UK, which turned into a bit of rain. So I'm still looking for, any evidence to support that. This feels like there really isn't that much more at this point to clean up. But this all has to show up. The effects of this are still in the process of showing up. But for me, the world changed last Wednesday. So, the Gaia Portal report. Descenders are accelerated. Leviathans present to the timid and make their point clear. Clairvoyants come to the fore with connections of enlightenment. Straight paths are created for the ascenders. So, your turn. For those of you who've been participating in all of this, is there anything significant that I've failed to mention? Thunderbirds, I go. Either of you two? Anything I've forgotten? Honestly, it's been a non-stop week. Non-stop. And so much has happened. And yet you can condense it into this. No, nothing today, Messe. The nature of the energy freaking people out. We've got certain frequencies that are leaving. Paranoia is one of them. Chaos. Well, I think if you're looking at it in a series of events, whatever that initial event was caused a great deal of chaos, and then from that chaos, an attempted order was created. And I believe we've gotten past the chaos in the energetic, but the chaos is still playing out. It's still on its way out, even though we're already gone behind that. In terms of Gina, is there something in particular you're thinking of? But narcissism, fear, paranoia, faith and doubt, these are all in the process of leaving. And if you have those frequencies within you at anywhere on the scale, then they may wave at you on the way out. And there's a lot of faith and doubt, wavering between faith and doubt going on. There is, the funky stillness is still happening. Everything just goes quiet. And there's a lot of sadness being processed and released. Lots of sleep needed, or none at all, one of the two. But a change in sleep patterns yet again, depending on I think what you're processing. There's some having or experiencing this as a this integration of these fractals as an identity crisis, because there's an aspect of yourself coming back in that you have not known or seen or felt for a very, very, very long time. Some are interpreting that as being messed with. So obviously discernment is key here, and being in your heart is key. It's not necessarily being fucked with. It can very well be an integration of just a big part of you that you've been separated from for a very long time. And it's trying to integrate. Wilcock wrote a lot about narcissism, did he? Well, the gods that we've been given are all pretty paranoid, which makes sense as why those two things would match up for me. Paranoia and narcissism. Paranoid about losing their power, Okay. Whoop. I'm trying to unmute you, Gina, but I can't. Why not? Oh, it's doing this. I can't unmute you. Okay. Okay, let's try this again. Okay, you're unmuted,
Oh,
Dave.
okay, there we go. Yeah, it just in reference to what you asked earlier, and yes, I think you covered them, the narcissism and paranoia, and it's almost like the paranoia. What I've witnessed is some people almost nursing it and letting it grow big, and then feeling like they're being attacked when it's really there. They're the only ones that can allow it to integrate within them, um, and that when people are seeking assistance, they have to remember, I think, that they have to do the work. You can only, or those that are helping can only make suggestions. That's something I've experienced personally with a couple of people. And it seems to be hitting some people really hard. And I don't know if it's people that are already working on things and going through the ego death, getting their ego under control. And it's rejecting that in some way, or they're feeling like they don't have the ability or power to rid themselves of it. But really, we do all have that power within ourselves. Sometimes we need reminding. And I agree that it's kind of waving at us on the way out. And once it's gone, like once you set your boundaries, there's nothing behind it. So that, big bag boogeyman is just not there. So it just kind of dissipates once it's confronted and boundaries are set. So in my experience and in what I've seen around me, that's how it's playing out right now. So that's what I wanted to say. Yeah. You're welcome.
I keep being brought back to it's an individual inside job. And although we work and have worked collectively to get us to this point, and even though I'm going to say final step, I don't know final step in what. I don't know what's on the other side of this step. But I say final because that's how it feels. It feels like the last big step before something. Is individual. It's like we all helped each other get to the door, but we have to walk through it on our own. And that means dealing with our own shit. It means releasing all of our own stuff, integrating what's ours, letting go of what's not, and becoming whole again. We're in the process of becoming whole again. And we have no idea, really. what that means. We don't remember what that means. But if you let it, if you don't resist it, you can start to remember. The other aspect of this, and a big discussion amongst the group I work with, is the physical bodies. There's so many different theories out there about what's happening with the bodies and why. And, do we all, you got Yellow Rose for Texas, we all get pulled from our bodies. You've got other people who are on the ascension sort of path and talk about we leave these bodies behind and move into our light bodies. We've got all kinds of things. But in terms of personal experience of myself and those that I'm close to and share this stuff with, it would appear that being in your body is very, very important at the moment. To go through this process in your body. But why? What is it about this body? And back in 2012, I think it was, when I first interviewed Michael Monk, he turned the whole ascension thing on its head for me. Because his description was the one that most closely fitted my personal sort of experiences, which was that we are bringing it all into the body. We are bringing all of ourselves into this physical body. And that does appear to be what is happening. Those of you who've been on this path consciously most of your lives have probably had more than one experience that should have taken you out. And you're still here. Some have had many, and you're still here. There's a reason why it's incredibly important to go through this process and be here at this time in body. It's only going to happen once. And being in the body is a unique experience, perspective of the experience. Whatever this is, whatever this event is. And audio's fine, but video's frozen. But as these fractals and aspects of ourselves are coming in to the body, it can be pretty painful at times. And I know that a lot of people are having a very, very hard time. It's an emotional roller coaster. And are contemplating from time to time taking themselves out. But it's really not the answer. You didn't come all this way to fall over at the finish line. And that really does feel like where we are. And I don't know what's on the other side of the finish line. But it feels like we're on the track and we've got our hands out and we're, just about to touch it. Earl, I'm trying to unmute you. There you go.
Hey, hello.
Hi.
So it's been a while.
Yeah, it has.
So with me, things have been happening like over the past like week or so, like so I have this bed now that I can, raise my legs up and all that. But I've been getting where at night where I'm sleeping on my back, but I'm feeling like this energy around me. Plus, I've been feeling like my third eye just like getting a 3D perspective, like feeling like there's something three-dimensional there. And plus, now I'm like, last night I had this thing like a visor over, like a feeling like a virtual reality type goggle thing over my face. Couldn't see it, but I could feel that there was some kind of thing on me there. Yeah.
Is that it? Sorry?
Yeah, I mean, it just seemed weird stuff that the energy's like really kicking my butt, like to the point where I'm so exhausted. It's like, oh, jeez.
Yeah.
Going back to bed. Screw this.
Yeah, there's a lot of that. Just go with it. Get all the rest you need.
Mm.
And
seeing that video of that fire in the tree, I'm like, holy crap, what the crap, Like that shouldn't be even physically possible where the tree's burning on the inside, but I've never seen that before.
no, not too many people have. But drink lots of water and get plenty of salt, as I've said recently. Tissue salts, even a little bit of good quality salt in the water that you're drinking. Just a little bit. You don't want to be sick.
Yeah.
And just rest. Go with what your body's telling you.
Yeah.
But the visor feeling is interesting.
Yeah, I know. It's like I could feel like a visor, but there's like these lens thing. What I feel like to be lens things on my eyes, like they're physical. Like it's something sweet because I'm like all around my as I'm lying down, like I feel a force field around like my torso area, like there's this expand, expanding kind of force field thing going on. And from what I talked to several people, like Marlena, is that it's my chakra system, like really, you know, expanding, aligning, or whatever it does.
Yeah, well, I got no comment on that because I don't really do the whole chakra system thing. But and I don't really have anything to theory to throw at you, but it does sound like it's a healing energy for sure.
Yeah, it does, and I feel like it's some kind of healing kind of chamber kind of thing that's going on.
Okay. Well, keep us updated.
Yeah,
Thanks,
I
Doc.
will. All right.
Bye. And JJ, you're unmuted, I think. Yep. JJ, you there? Your hands up. No, I'll mute you again. Okay. Now, I know there's a bunch of you who have been participating in the last week, so anything that I've forgotten? So when will the enthusiastic order followers get any of this cleaning up? I think they are. And I think they're possibly having the hardest time of all. It could be, Deb. We've been given lots of messages over the last couple of weeks that the construct has been informed that a schedule is in place, that a countdown has begun to what? That's what we've all been speculating about for a very long time. But we're seeing these energies go. We're seeing them be released. We're seeing them come up. But in the background, it's a very positive, cleansing, authentic energy that's pushing it all out, all the crap out. And that's where that's the chaos that's being felt and seen by many, to me. You can't throw a pebble in the pond and not get a few ripples. So but right behind it, right behind this chaos is the good stuff. And how long it takes, I really do think is up to the individual to some extent. Because you can either go through this kicking and screaming and make it more difficult on yourself and drag it out, or you can take some deep breaths and go with it and release it. It seems the resistors are mostly lashing out to avoid unification. Yeah, I'll go with that. Maybe that is what the reset is, Liz. Jennifer, you're unmuted. Did you know you wanted to be, or?
I just did that accidentally. I'm getting into the car and the Bluetooth picked up, but anyway, I was just outside in the wind, but I was going to comment that I got this sudden urge to clean, and I was cleaning, and I remember you saying at some point in the last week that you were cleaning too. But I'm really like getting rid of all this stuff, and I have been for like 2 years. This has been a whole process. Like I've really whittled down my collection of things, and it's just weird. I just was going through all these old things, like, and it just felt like these don't even belong to me anymore. And so I feel like that cleansing energy is like kind of manifesting itself in the physical for me right now, as well as, yeah, it's weird too. Like there's some things that like I need to do that I've been avoiding so stubbornly. Like there's just like a couple things I just don't want to deal with, and I know it, and it's making me miserable, and I'm being so stubborn about it. And yeah, I feel like I'm at a doorway where, and I feel like, if I just do this, I know I'll be like, I'll step through this gateway, and it's really bizarre. Like, I don't know what that fear is about, and it's just absolutely ridiculous. But anyway, So that's just my 2 cents about like the energies that I'm feeling in my whole perspective that seem to kind of correlate with what you're saying here tonight.
Thank you. And it's funny, there's a lot of that going around, isn't there? And that cleaning up feeling. Even though we're going backwards through storyline or backwards through the events, it doesn't play out the way it did the first time round. You know, we're playing these energies out in a lot different circumstances and gentler ways, but I think we're making it a little easier on ourselves. But yeah, physically, you don't, sorry. Physically cleaning, frantically cleaning, getting rid of, all of that stuff. It's all a representation of what's going on energetically. Frozen. Am I still frozen? Yeah, I think so, Connie. I'll give that a go. I feel stuck most of the time. Do any of you feel that too? Yeah, that can happen. But try and discern the difference between feeling stuck and there being a pause for a reason, because there's a lot of that going on too. I feel something really good is real close. No image, black screen. Okay, sorry, it all looks fine at this end and I don't know why. Frozen. Oh, with a good look too. Okay, am I unfrozen? All right, let's try this. Okay, what about now? It's just slow. But frozen again. Okay. Well, hopefully the recording won't be. Okay, I'm going to try it again, JJ. You're unmuted.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Sorry about that. I neighbor came by and we had dog discussions and stuff. On my travel back, I noticed that when I was at the airport, both Vancouver and in Seattle, that when I sat down, I could feel minor vibrations, shall we say, coming up from the ground. And I thought that was kind of strange. And cruising data flow or information flows, someone was saying there was a swarm of small earthquakes in the Pacific Northwest, which is where I live. And if that's so, then they're minor, but they're definitely there. And it's like they call it a swarm, which means you get a whole bunch of series of small little guys like ones and twos and that kind of stuff. And they just kind of continue. But this was whenever I was sitting in a chair, like at the airport, I was feeling this. And I'm feeling it at home too. I mean, I'm on kind of a springboard floor. And so it kind of, in some cases, can accentuate, the springiness of an earthquake or a small earth tremor. So I'm thinking that perhaps one of the consequences of all that we're feeling is coming from the ground up, which is a speculation we've kind of thrown out for a while. But the idea that you could actually feel it, as in there's kind of it's like a springiness when you're standing on the ground. It kind of feels like it gets wobbly. You're not making it wobbly; it's doing it to you. But at the same time, you feel that kind of slow vibration kind of thing through your feet. I thought that was kind of interesting that I'd never noticed. Well, I did notice it when I was down your neck of the woods, and for the month prior and all that stuff, I didn't know. But as soon as I got up here, I'm feeling this slow wobble, and with all the other stuff happening, I'm somehow thinking it's got to be related. It may not be, but something I noticed nonetheless. So just 2 cents.
Thank you. It's funny you say it though, because we've had a couple of people express, and it sounds different to what you're talking about, but it triggered the memory of feeling like the ground underneath their feet as they walk is kind of bouncy. It's bouncing back. Someone expressed it like a trampoline, and the other person like a jumping castle. So it's this buoyancy with each step, which leads me again to the whole idea of the water thing. There is something about water at the moment, not only with it disappearing all over the place, but with people feeling like they're underwater. And that expresses with the ears, all the sinuses, a feeling of even a physical sensation of floating, dreams about water, and the need to drink a lot more of it. I've got reason to believe that it's because we are adjusting to a completely different environment. That this new environment has a lot more water in the environment. But yeah, that's interesting. And also the hearing a noise or noises, because they do seem to vary a little bit. Everything from P described it as like the dishwasher, to a sort of industrial fan kind of woo, 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 like you got a helicopter above your head and you don't. And you can be hearing it and the person next to you is not. Voices. That's the other thing that started, is more people are hearing internal voices that are definitely not theirs. Or, in some cases, feeling like they are theirs, but distinctly other. And not in the voice-to-skull targeted technology kind of way, but as if they are hearing the voice or voices of someone who's just out of frequency. So that's started in the last, I don't know, week and a half too. It's okay. Karen, hi love, and you are unmuted.
Hi, I was just going to make a comment on JJ's observations that the shaking that's going on is the earth working in as gentle a possible way to release water. And then because of the fires and the redistribution of water, air, fire, earth around everywhere, we're going to be seeing things, but they're not going to be destructive, I don't believe, or as little destruction as possible in areas that are not, say, heavily populated. But there is going to be a rebalancing going on, and we should see an absence of manipulated weather, although there may be attempts. it's not going to work. You're muted.
Yeah, good point. Because some of that work that was done was to bring the water up through the ground in order to alleviate some of the fires and bullshit that's been going on. So, okay, thank you. And Gina?
Oh, hi. In regards to the different kinds of voices that you hear, as I've said before, I have experienced the voice to skull stuff, but also many years ago, I was on my way back from Berkeley to Sacramento after dropping my son off at his dad's in a bad place, crying out for help the whole way. What am I supposed to be doing? I don't get it. Can you point me in the right direction? And I got home and I had a voice which was very different than the voice to skull. It was otherworldly, right in my ear to where I could feel the sensation of air, and they said, wait. That was a very different experience than that voice to skull stuff. So I know what you're saying, that it's a like completely different feel and sound, and it leaves a different feeling within you, like you are being communicated with. They're letting you know. For me, I felt like they were letting me know it's not time yet. You just need to hang on and wait. So it was either that or wait for more instructions, and I just didn't hear the for more instructions. I only heard the wait part. But yeah, it's completely different. So I just
And what
wanted to.
being said at the moment is pretty similar to it. Lots of, can you hear me? Hello, are you there? That kind of initial contact.
Right, I just went, I looked everywhere first, and then I said, do you have anything else to tell me? And I got nothing at all. And even that feeling went away. But something was there and communicating with me. And like you said, it felt like it was just beyond that frequency where I could have a whole full conversation. Like it took a lot for them to just get that word out, to wait and hang on. So it's never happened since. I wish it would, because now I'd love to have a conversation with them.
Yeah, there is a tech that can do that, and we that's what Gina is saying too. She's experienced that as well, and there is a distinct difference. I'm just going to mute you, darling. Squeaky. There's a distinct difference between that tech and what we're talking about. And how to tell the difference, how it feels. There is a difference to the sound, but if you haven't heard both, then you don't. You wouldn't be able to tell, but go with how it feels. All I can say right now, and I'll leave it at this, is that everything changed. The tipping point for me has happened. We are the authentic everything is starting to push through. And yeah, that is causing a bit of chaos as it forces out the inauthentic, as it cleans it up, deletes it, whatever. there is a reset happening, but it's ours. And I do believe that everything is coming into the same space, everything and everyone. And that we are in the process of integrating all those aspects of ourselves that have been fractalized out into all these different spaces. And we're doing it, and we're bringing it into the body. And what happens once that process is complete, who knows? But to me, it is happening, and it's happening fast. And I do think that their ability to use their tech and their manipulations and their bullshit is decreasing by the minute. And more and more and more in every way and in every pocket and dark hole is being exposed. We are getting transparency everywhere. Yeah, we have passed the point of critical mass, I do believe, Jim. And now is the time, and now more than ever, it's the time to go in. Because the way out is in. And it's an individual inside job. And it's time. So that's it for me, unless anybody else has anything. And I think Karen may.
Yes, just a further comment on looking for confirmation and the means by which they have at their disposal right now. I would say it's predominantly propaganda, media, infiltrated alternative, etc. And I think it's extremely important now to be getting verification from real life people on the ground that you know in different places, okay? Because they can be saying that, oh yeah, this is happening here and this is happening here, but it's not. It's not. And I think we need to rely on that. And then the other thing, the faith and doubt thing, that plays into this, in that you got to place your faith in the hearts of beings you trust here on the ground and sort that out between the doubt of who's telling the truth kind of thing. It is in the heart, but it's heart to heart with other beings, heart source beings in these locations that are supposedly having these things happen to them. Just wanted to say that.
Yeah, good point. Thank you. And the other message we've been getting is practice, practice, practice. Practice your tech. Our internal tech, which is, again, going back to why being in the body at this time is so important, is coming back online. Practice telepathy. Practice any of your superpowers that you want to play with, but practice. What was the other thing you prompted? No, it's gone. Anyone else? Anything from either of you? No? Just playing in the background? Go with the flow and stay centered. Yeah. Is earthing recommended? Within yourself. You don't need to me, you don't need to ground to anything. other than ground everything in here. Doesn't need to go anywhere from there, I don't think. But that's a personal choice. Whatever makes you feel calm, centered, and grounded within yourself, go with it. And yeah, listen to your body. It's changing. It's switching on. That's it. Okay. I will see you guys next week. Oh, no, there was one more thing. I did share a couple of weeks ago about a crow incident where I had a crow hit my windscreen. And from then, since then, they've been everywhere. And then someone posted yesterday that the crow is the symbol for the new earth, or the blackbird, which includes crows, obviously, which is news to me. So I'm going to look into that a little bit more. But if you're seeing crows everywhere, cool. So see you soon. Bye for now.